There are so many traditions at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, like kissing the bricks for anyone who wins the race, or even fans visiting the track. That's a tradition that was started by NASCAR some 30 years ago. Every driver competing at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway longs to pucker up on the start-finish line.
Kind of iconic moment that everybody wants to experience, that it's become something kind of almost as big as winning the race, right? I think that's the funny part about it is that victory lane here is probably one of the coolest victory lanes you'll ever go to, right? But people still are talking about kissing the bricks over necessarily going to victory lane.
Kyle Larson got his first kiss at Indy 2 years ago, saving it for a win.
When I've come here as a fan and whatever, I would never kiss the bricks. Even if I was to win an O'Reilly race, I wouldn't kiss the bricks. So nothing against that series or anything. It's just, in my opinion, like it's meant for Indy 500 and Brickyard 400.
Indy can be a good luck kiss. 9 Brickyard 400 winners have gone on to win the Cup championship.
Everything has to be right here. I think you have to do. It's hard to kind of come back after a mistake here. So I think that speaks a lot of teams who can execute a full day.
Christopher Bell started courting the Speedway Friday with the fastest lap in practice at 183.5 miles an hour. Qualifying Saturday, kisses for the winner Sunday. At the Speedway, Rich Nye, 13 News.
All right, thanks so much, Rich Nye. And as he just said, the race is Sunday. Gates open at 10 a.m. and the race starts at 2. Also, Pacers and Racers, a familiar face will be driving the pace car for the Brickyard. Obi Toppin will serve as the honorary pace car driver. The Indiana Pacers forward will drive a 2026 Chevy Corvette Stingray Coupe.
All right, if you're headed out to IMS this weekend, you might need to take a different path. Yep, that's because remember, the 16th Street Bridge is shut down due to construction. Our Brandon Schaff is talking to people who are having to juggle this construction and how they're handling it. We're going to look into that ahead here at 5 o'clock. In the meantime, if you usually take that 16th Street Bridge to get to the Speedway, you're going to have to find a new way to get back and forth. Rob's been looking into this, some of the best routes and detours.
Yeah, the good news is you do have a good number of options, but that's a major thoroughfare, so it is going to cause some problems. Let me show you what we're talking about. Of course, with that bridge closure, the best way is to go a little farther to the south. You've got several options here. 10th Street, Michigan Street, New York Street, down to Washington Street. You can take that if you're coming, say, from downtown to cross the river. Then you can take White River Parkway. Eventually, that'll get you up either to 10th or to 16th. Either way you want to go. If you take 10th, just make that ride onto Tibbs, then you can get to 16th. Then you're at the track. Now, if you're coming from the north, a little bit of a different path we expect here. 30th Street will get you over to the track, especially if you're coming from, say, 65 southbound. And then taking a look, road closures, Georgetown Road south of 25th, as well as 16th Street down to Olin Avenue. Those will be closed starting an hour before the race on both Saturday and Sunday, as well as until the checkered flag. So find those alternate routes, and you can see the track right now. A lot of activity going out there today. I've been watching both of our track cameras. Also some clouds starting to roll in, a couple of sprinkles to the north, but I think the forecast overall, I'm saying overall, looks pretty dry for this weekend.
Yeah.
Some good news there.
On Fridays, we are always hyper-focused on what the forecast looks like. A lot of people have the day off, starting with a lot of concerts and things like that.
Yeah.
What do you see for us tonight?
I think tonight we'll see the temperatures cool down again. We're still kind of in that lower humidity area. Then we're going to start to see the humidity creep back in. So for tonight, looking pretty good. Let me show you where we are with it when it comes to our forecast. We do have temperatures that are trying to warm up. The cloud cover, unfortunately, has shut that down. We're into the upper 70s to near 80 degrees, depending on where you are and also depending on how quickly those clouds moved in. Most of this has been trying to arrive into that area of some relatively dry air. Most of this we were expecting to dry up, but we have been watching some of these showers that have been pretty persistent. They are weakening a good bit as they move to the south and east, but there are some heavier returns in here, and we have seen some rain reaching the ground in places like Monticello, Rensselaer. Wouldn't surprise me if Kokomo starts to pick up a little bit of rain over the next maybe half hour or so. Overall, though, I don't know if this will survive the trek. racetrack into Indy, although a sprinkle couldn't be ruled out for this evening. More than anything else, it's just going to be a few clouds that'll continue through the rest of this evening as the temperatures move out of the 70s. I think we'll only do 60s for tonight. No more of those 50s that we dealt with because of that really low humidity, dry air that's been in place. Still, though, very comfortable, a little bit cooler than average. 62 is what we're expecting for tonight. Now, for tomorrow, a day similar to today. Good bit of cloud cover mixed with some sunshine, but a little bit warmer. High temperatures making it up into the low to mid 80s.
Thanks a lot, Rob. We'll check back in. Well, an Indianapolis woman gunned down in her home, and now 3 years later, police have arrested the alleged hitman.
Detectives now say this is the second arrest in what they call a murder for hire plot, allegedly orchestrated by the victim's husband. Ashton Hackman's on the story, and tonight now explains what investigators say finally led them to their suspect.
It was July 2023 on Orchard Grove Lane. Police found 30-year-old Eric Pedroza shot to death in her Canby home. A year later, her husband, Seth Robinson, was charged with her murder, but detectives continued building the case.
The investigation doesn't end at the arrest. There's still a lot of back-end things that investigators are doing, building up to the trial.
A tip last year led detectives to Arkansas and to Dalvin Carter, who they say is the alleged hitman. The tipster claimed Robinson paid Dalvin to kill his wife Erica and make it look like a robbery. Dalvin denied killing her and told detectives Robinson did it himself. Dalvin also told investigators he would testify about how it was supposed to go down. But police won't say who they believe pulled the trigger. They say money transfers show Dalvin was paid in connection with the murder.
We know that there are 2 suspects involved. We have both suspects now. There's still investigation that's going to continue to totally define exactly what role everybody had.
We may find out those roles as soon as next month when Seth Robinson's bench trial is set to begin. In the meantime, Dalvin Carter remains in prison in Arkansas, awaiting extradition. In Indianapolis, Ashton Hackman, 13 News.
Carter right now is charged with murder and armed robbery. Already he is spending time and serving time in Arkansas for robbery and terroristic threats.
A passing driver helped a woman shot during an argument with a man in Johnson County. It happened near 575 East and 500 North, which is just east of I-65 Sunday. Court documents say Alexander Foster and a woman left a counseling session at a church when the argument started. Witnesses say they saw Foster standing in the road and a woman crying in the car. The dispatchers heard gunshots, and witnesses say Foster shot the woman as she ran away. The passerby took her to the hospital for treatment. She's expected to be okay. Foster is now facing 4 charges, including attempted murder. Well, economists are telling us to brace ourselves for higher prices. Today, new tariffs on goods from dozens of U.S. trade partners took effect.
This as oil prices made big jumps this week as tensions are escalating between the U.S. and Iran. Karen Kaifa now explains how this could impact our wallets.
The re-escalation in tensions between the U.S. and Iran sent oil prices climbing again this week. Oil supplies are dwindling too from the Strait of Hormuz, the Red Sea, and the Black Sea, where Ukrainian attacks have disabled Russian ports.
So we are in a potentially worse situation now than we have been at any point during the crisis.
Oil prices briefly soared back above $100 a barrel on Thursday after Houthi rebels threatened a blockade in the Red Sea, compounding stress on shipments imposed by the effective closure of the Strait of Hormuz.
It's designed to cause another energy shock, shipping and insurance shock, to spread the impact of this war, again, horizontally across the globe.
Here in the U.S., the conflict has renewed pressure at the gas pumps. Friday's nationwide average for a gallon of regular gas was up 12 cents from 1 week ago, according to AAA, to $4.10. Meanwhile, new U.S. tariffs on goods from dozens of trade partners from Europe to China to India took effect Friday. The Trump administration citing a failure by countries to address alleged use of forced labor to produce goods exported to the U.S.
Finally, we have put our foot down and we have told countries, you need to take action.
Coupled with spiking oil prices, economists continue to sound the alarm over inflation.
These are the things that markets worry about inflation around.
The new tariffs range from 10 to 12.5%. In Washington, I'm Karen Kaifa.